first victim is Henry's son Sammy, followed by 4 other kids whose souls eventually possessed the infamous suits. So, through these source code teasers, not only has Scott confirmed that this new game will be tied to the lore of the book, but will be dealing with a robotics company founded by and named after the child-killing Purple Guy. Now that's already a huge mind blow, and I'm about to go further, but before I do, let's address the elephant in the room, the canonicity of the book. The internet, by and large, dismissed Silver Eyes under the assumption that Scott said it's not canon to the first 4 games, but that's not entirely true. If you read his entire statement, and I understand that it's hard for you internet since it's 3 whole paragraphs that aren't summarized with a TLDR line, he actually says, quote, "Sometimes the lore of something can become so crowded that you can't tell an original story anymore. The first 4 games and the books should be considered to be separate continuities, even if they do share many familiar elements. The book is canon just as the games are. That doesn't mean that they're intended to fit together like 2 puzzle pieces. The book is a reimagining of the Five Nights at Freddy's story." End quote. And this makes sense, right? The first 4 games were crushed under their own convoluted lore and fan base dedicated to making every new toe added to Foxy mean something. No, I'm not saying that's a bad thing to have people enthusiastic about your story, but it does become limiting when you make continuity errors or want to do something new with these characters. And with the Five Nights at Freddy's movie coming ever closer, it becomes even more important. There needed to be room to insert actual characters into this story. You can't make a movie out of some pre-taped phone tutorials and silent furry monsters. Thus enters Silver Eyes, which builds out new characters, new faces, and new stories that can be told in the setting of these games. So yeah, the separate canonicity of the book makes sense, but as Scott said, it's a reimagining. And obviously there's going to be a lot of crossover. And based on that apt clue we just saw, Sister Location is going to be bridging the line more and more. So does any of this matter? Yeah, actually a whole lot. Because if we take the Silver Eyes Sister Location connection to its logical conclusion, huge pieces start to fall in place. Let's start by working backwards. Based on the trailers and teasers, Sister Location's main animatronic is this clown girl, Baby. But the teaser trailer isn't the first time she appears. She's introduced at the end of the FNAF World Update 1.2, something we discovered in our playthrough of the game over on the JV Live channel. Once you collect all the characters and beat Chica's Magic Rainbow, long story not worth explaining, you're immediately taken to a cutscene where a mysterious figure at a desk apologizes to you for creating a robot that cannot be deactivated. The bot's name? Baby. We then see a pair of eyes light up, telling everyone to take their seats before cutting back to the room to see the desk guy lying there dead, presumably killed by Baby. Now, many people assume that desk guy was Scott Cawthon since he's the creator of the animatronics and the minigames that you play in FNAF. However, it'd be weird for Scott to kill himself. Plus, the dialogue from the FNAF in Space minigame, yes, again, FNAF World is a weird game, seems to imply that Scott is a separate entity from this desk guy creator figure. So if desk guy isn't Scott Cawthon, then who else could he be? Well, now that we know that Baby and Sister Location both have ties to Silver Eyes, we can actually identify who this mysterious creator of FNAF World is. He's Henry, co-founder of Fredbear's and Purple Guy's business partner. How do we know? Well, not only is he the creator of the games and animatronics, his death also lines up with the way he dies in the book. Stricken with grief over the death of his son, Henry commits suicide in the living room by letting one of his animatronics kill him. One that remains nameless in the book, but is clearly not any of the core 6 of Freddy, Foxy, Chica, Bonnie, Golden Freddy, and Golden Bonnie. In other words, Henry the creator is killed in his home by a mysterious new animatronic, just like we see happen to Desk Guy in FNAF World. The events just line up. Now that's all the stuff that I feel really confident about. But now let's have some fun and take it even further. Admittedly, I don't think that this is where Sister Location is headed, but there is enough of an evidence thread to take us to some awesome extremes. So let's have a little bit of fun with this, shall we? First, notice how Baby is introduced to us at the end of FNAF World as 2 yellow eyes in the dark. And what's the first image we see in that game? 2 yellow eyes in the dark, along with the iconic ending line from FNAF 4, "I will put you back together." It's also the last thing that we see in the true ending to the game. 2 yellow eyes saying, "I will put you back together." Now, I know what you're thinking. There's no way that those are Baby's eyes. One, why would she say that when she wasn't even in FNAF 4? And 2, we all know that that line and those eyes belong to the imaginary friend, Psychic Friend Fredbear. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. Who are you gonna call? Psychic Friend Fredbear. Don't be so remind you of something. In the FNAF 4 cutscenes, each character has a specific color for their dialogue. Number 787878 for the brother, FFFFFF for crying child, 57C0FF for the brother's friend, etc. Psychic Friend Fredbear's dialogue for all of his lines is always FFFF57 shade of yellow. And yet, for the final lines of You're Broken, We're Still Your Friends, I Will Put You Back Together, it's a different shade of yellow, FFFFA0. Similar, yes, but definitely different from Fredbear. So very intentionally, Scott made this a different character, but in a strange twist, it's actually a color of dialogue shared with one other character we see in FNAF 4, Pigtail Girl. The one who knows that the animatronics come to life and get stuffed with dead bodies. Coincidence? Yeah, or at least we all thought so last year, but look at her design! Dressed in a skirt with reddish pigtails and big green eyes, just like the design of Baby. Hear that? The collective sound of minds being blown across the internet. But if the glowing eyes, shared dialogue colors, similar designs, and repeated line of I will put you back together doesn't stop there. Remember the biggest lingering question from FNAF 4? This room? No one had an explanation for it. I didn't have an explanation for it. And yet Scott felt it was important enough to the lore of the story to show us. And now we might actually know why. What if the girl is a part of the crying child's family? First, it would explain why you would see her color dialogue reappearing in his final moments. As a family member, she would be there in the hospital with the boy as he tries to recover. And if she shares a connection with Baby, it would also tie together the random presence of Mangle in the room. One of the other key animatronics we see in Sister Location trailer is Funtime Foxy, which we can confidently say is an intact model of what will eventually become Mangle. Again, we're looking at the major details. Yes, some things may or may not be there. Notice the lipstick, the red cheeks, and painted fingernails on Funtime Foxy, all of which reappear on Mangle. So in the two games, we would have Baby and Foxy linked. Is it a stretch? Absolutely, but then again, this is Scott we're talking about. To me, though, the coolest part about this connection would be in the name of the game. This whole time, we've been assuming that Sister Location was referencing some other spin-off chain of restaurants, or, like I said earlier, a storage and distribution center for the robots. But if the Pigtail Girl's soul is trapped in Baby, and she was indeed the sibling of Crying Child, the phrase Sister Location takes on a whole new meaning. This is her game, a game about one sister's soul trapped in the Baby animatronic getting revenge for her brother's death. Just don't hold it against her. You don't know what she's been through. Or maybe, now you do. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. The ball's in your court, Scott. You should subscribe for more episodes of Game Theory. You should subscribe for more episodes of Game Theory. You should subscribe for more episodes of Game Theory. Or cast your vote. Are you excited about Sister Location? Yes. Or no? Gotta choose.
There is a space under the desk. Someone before you crafted it into a hiding place, and it worked for him. I recommend that you hurry, though.
No.
No, hi.
Get rid of it. I want to see what happens.
Matthew, come on.
It's gonna be a jump scare.
Come on.
It's gonna be a jump
Let's
scare.
survive as long as we can.
No.
Survive.
No.
Someone's brought a triangle.
Those late night animatronic chiseling sessions. Oh, wow. Here we go. Get off the flashlight. What the heck? What the heck happened? What?
Nobody wanted that.
Game over. You're you. It was you. Live! That actually worked. That worked really well.
Aw, good old Fred head.
Hey guys, welcome to DD Live. Today is the day that everyone has been waiting for. At least
Scary Games Friday.
not only Scary Games Friday, perhaps the most important Scary Games Friday of the year.
Whoa.
Most exciting Scary Games Friday of the year.
Yeah.
That's right. It just came out. Sister location.
Friday the Freddy.
What about Jonas?
The girl on the train. Oh, I'm so
Like,
excited.
you know,
No. It has happened.
Want to go back and check and see how we did. We don't know.
We'll be
Fingers
checking it a lot.
crossed.
So
Yeah.
that was the theory where I'm like, hey, there's been a lot of clues that Scott's been seeding out about this game. It seems like they're referencing characters from the book, specifically the killer from the book, who in that universe is the purple guy. All of this stuff. So we'll be finding out all this together. Jason, are you ready? Stephanie, are you ready?
No.
Okay, let's do this. All right, here we go. Five Nights at Freddy's. Sister location for all of our viewing partners. Go ahead.
Here, boy, fingers hands.
Clearly state of the art. There are just certain design choices that were made for these robots that we don't fully understand.
The extra massage.
We were hoping that you could shed some